Hey y'all, it is Wednesday and I'm sitting in the car waiting to pick up the girls from school and I had the thought about Sunday stuff that sometimes it's really hard for me to even remember what I preached on a Sunday, and how that would probably be 10 times harder for y'all to think about what I preached on a Sunday, or anybody. And so I thought maybe giving you a brief kind of refresher of what I talked about would be helpful. So, Sunday was the second week in our Give series, our series on stewardship, and encompassing more than money. That stewardship is a lifestyle and it encompasses all sorts of aspects. And we're trying to go through each of those aspects. And this last week, the first aspect was time. And the thing that I highlighted, and I focused on Psalm 23. And I highlighted that the majority of us only think about our time as it pertains to God and the people around us when we think of our own finality, our own death, our own funeral. And after hearing Psalm 23 preached on at funeral after funeral after funeral, I thought that it would be equated best in our time in general for a stewardship series. And so what I did is I climbed inside of a box that I labeled Rest in Discomfort. And this aspect that what we do is, the box was kind of to symbolize a coffin. We climb in spiritually and we leave the lid open. So we climb inside because, we're pretty good in how we feel about God, our relationship to God, and we leave the lid open just so we can get a refresher from the sermon on Sunday like this, or so that we can hear a good word, or sometimes we feel we need to be convicted. And rarely do we really look at time in its totality of who we are and how we live and the things that we give back. And so I highlighted sections from each of the verses in Psalm 23 that we rarely find rest, that we rarely feel comforted by who God is, by the rod and the staff. We rarely get to experience sitting at a table in the presence of the things that get us down, our enemies, their struggles that we have, and that in the end, we don't really give back. We don't give of our time because our time is so precious that it's the most important commodity that life has to offer. And so I ended with the aspect of, you need to begin to practice to give your time back. And not to God specifically, but in general. For God, for others. Love of God and love of others is the thing that drives us in this Christian life. And if we don't take the opportunity to intentionally let down our guard, to intentionally give of our time to someone else, to God, to the church, to serving our neighbor, our friends, more than just those around us, to look beyond just us, that it's going to be really, really hard for us to ever get to the end of the series and talk about money. This is really the beginning and the hardest place to start if we are truly genuine about our endeavor here. And so, yeah, that's your refresher. It's Wednesday. Try and find some time this week before Sunday rolls around and you get asked, what'd you talk about on Sunday last week? And give your time. It's more valuable than you would really think. And to someone that needs a little time or needs a little help from somebody, giving of your time means a lot. Good luck.